Somewhere over the rainbow, birds fly over the rainbow.
Hello everybody, this is Ogre Boy, and I'm going to be doing my ranking for my top 10 favorite movies of 2020. So, this is part of the series that I'm doing where I rank my 10 favorite movies of each year since I was born, and this week I'm doing the year 2020. So 2020 was not the best year for movies. There were a lot of really big duds, and then there were just a lot of movies that got canceled and pushed to different years and stuff because 2020 year is the year of the pandemic and stuff. So, there's not as many great ones on this list, but there are some really good ones on here, and there's a couple of great ones, but just not as many as some of the other years have. But I'm going to go ahead and get going. Coming in at number 10 is Becky. This is an action thriller movie about a little girl whose family gets held captive, and she sets out to stop these skinheads that are attacking her family and everything. The skinheads are led by Kevin James and everything. And this is an interesting movie because this is something completely different for Kevin James, who is known for being a comedic actor who is mostly known for fumbling and falling around and being really silly and stuff. He's never really played a serious role like in this movie, and he was great in here and everything. I thought he gave a really good performance. He was intimidating and stuff, and I never expected Kevin James to be able to pull off something like this, but he did a great job in this movie, and I really enjoyed this one quite a bit. So Becky is number 10, and number 9 is Holiday. This is a rom-com starring Emma Roberts about these two people who meet and they decide to spend all the holidays together pretending to be a couple and stuff and everything to impress her family and everything. And as the movie goes on, they start to have feelings for each other and things go crazy and stuff throughout. And it's a really good movie though. It's one that I've always really enjoyed and everything. It's a really fun time. Everything. It's more of a guilty pleasure, I guess, but it's one that I've always just really enjoyed and everything. And it's really, really fun rom-com and everything. So Holiday is number 9. And number 8 is Sonic the Hedgehog. This is a really fun first entry in the franchise. I really enjoyed this franchise quite a bit. I actually feel like each movie gets better as they go on and everything, but this is a really good first entry and everything. It was a good introduction to Sonic and James Marsden's character. I cannot remember his name. It just totally slipped my mind, but he's really good in here. And of course Jim Carrey steals the show. This is kind of a return to form for Jim Carrey. He kind of acts like his old 90s self and stuff in this movie. It felt like a 90s Jim Carrey movie at times. But I absolutely love this movie. It is a blast from start to finish. There are some really fun moments throughout the movie and everything, and it's just a really funny time and everything. So Sonic the Hedgehog is number 8, and number 7 is The Invisible Man. This movie is highly underrated. I've always really loved this movie ever since it first came out. I wouldn't say it's like, maybe it's not as underrated as I'm saying it is, but it feels like it is because people just don't talk about it anymore. When it first came out, it got a lot of buzz and everything, and then after it's been out a while and stuff, people just don't talk about it as much anymore and everything. And I think it's one of the more memorable horror movies of this decade and everything. It's a really good suspense thriller horror movie and everything. It keeps you on the edge of your seat throughout the whole movie. The directing is great. The acting is excellent in here. And everything. The main actress, she is really, really good, and she does a great job in this movie, and I just absolutely love this one and everything. So The Invisible Man is number 7, and number 6 is Onward. This is a really good Pixar movie. I think this is actually one of Pixar's most underrated movies. It has a lot of heart and a lot of humor and beautiful animation, and it's got a really good story about these two guys who are trying to spend time with their dad after resurrecting him with the spell, and they only resurrect the bottom half of his body by accident and everything. So they're racing against time, trying to find a way to resurrect the rest of his body so they can spend a couple hours with him before he has to go and everything, because they only are allowed to have 24 hours with him and it's a really, really interesting premise and good movie. It's set in this fantasy world. The main characters, I think, are elves and everything, but it's a really interesting movie, and this is one of those movies that I actually would love to see become a franchise. I wouldn't mind like a prequel showing what this world was like before they turned into modern day stuff and everything. I would love to see that kind of movie, and I also would love to see sequels with these characters because I love the characters so much. So this is something a movie I feel like could be a franchise and should be one, but it came out right at the start of the pandemic, so it didn't get much of a chance at the box office or anything like that. So it's kind of came and went and was forgotten about. But this movie is really good and everything. So Onward is number 6, and number 5 is The King of Staten Island. I absolutely love this movie. I'm a huge fan of Judd Apatow, and his movies that he directs and everything are some of my favorite comedies of all time. And this one, I wouldn't say it's one of my favorites of all time, but it's one of my favorites of this decade for sure. And everything. It's a really good comedy. It's got some really funny moments. Pete Davidson is just absolutely hilarious in here. And it's got a good supporting cast. Bill Burr and Steve Buscemi are great in here. And it's just a really, really good movie. It's one that I really enjoyed watching. I actually need to give it a rewatch and review it before too long, but I do like this one quite a bit. So The King of Staten Island is number 5, and number 4 is News of the World. This is a movie that stars Tom Hanks, and it's a Western movie where he's protecting this little girl, and he goes around giving the news, reading the newspaper around different parts of the United States and stuff, going to town to give news and stuff and everything, because that's how news was spread back in the day. And I really enjoyed this movie quite a bit. I never expected Tom Hanks would be so good in a Western. Like, I know he's a great actor. He's one of my personal favorites and everything, but I never expected him to be as good as he was in this movie. I thought he was really good, that they wrote the character where it played to his strengths as an actor, and he did a really great job. And I really enjoyed this movie and everything. I feel like the 2020s has been a really good decade for Tom Hanks so far and everything. I know a lot of people don't like some of his recent choices, but I've actually felt like he's made some of his best choices in the recent years, and this is one of them and everything. So News of the World is number 4, and number 3 is Bill and Ted Face the Music. This is the third movie in the Bill and Ted trilogy, and it took almost 30 years for this movie to happen, but it finally did. And this is one of those long-awaited sequels that I feel like really lived up to how good the first two were, and I think it makes a really great trilogy and everything. This is a lot of fun. I will say that I wish that the music was a little bit different at the end of the music when they save the world with the music. I wish it was like some kind of song or something instead of just being a bunch of people playing instruments and stuff. I do feel like they could have done a little bit better with that, but besides that, I really love this movie, and it's a really fun time. I might have to review the Bill and Ted movies here before too long, because I don't think I've ever reviewed those yet and everything, so I'll have to talk about them sometime. But I really love this movie and everything, and I think it was a very welcomed addition to the trilogy and everything. For right now, it's a trilogy. I've heard there is a Bill and Ted 4 in the works, so I don't think we need it, but if it's good, then I'm not going to complain and everything. But this is a pretty good ending to the trilogy. If this is where they end it and everything, I would be okay with it too. So Bill and Ted Face the Music is number 3. And number 2 is Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Now, one of the biggest heartbreaks of 2020 was that Chadwick Boseman had passed away earlier that summer, and this movie came out during awards season and everything, and it's a really, really great movie. It has some really great performances from Viola Davis and Chadwick Boseman. Both gave Oscar-worthy performances. And I know Chadwick Boseman was nominated, and I believe Viola Davis was too. And if she won, I don't remember if she won that year, but she would have been deserving if she would have. And he would have been deserving if he would have won, but he lost to Sir Anthony Hopkins. So I don't know if Anthony Hopkins deserved the award more or not, because I haven't seen that movie yet. So I'm not going to say for sure, but I do think that Chadwick Boseman was very deserving of at least the nomination and everything. He was amazing in this movie. It's probably his best performance. I was going to say one of his best because I really like him as James Brown and stuff too. But I feel like his performance in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom was even better than that. So I'd say that this was his best performance and everything. He's absolutely amazing in this movie and everything, and it's a really, really good movie. So Ma Rainey's Black Bottom is number 2. And my number 1 favorite movie of 2020 is Soul. I absolutely love this movie. I'm still ticked off to this day that this movie was just dumped on Disney Plus and given a theatrical release 2 or 3 years later when nobody was interested in seeing it in the theater, because you could watch it for free on Disney Plus and everything. But this movie is so good. It's got a really great cast, a voice cast and everything. The animation, it's gorgeous, and everything has some really beautiful animation. And it's just an excellent story that has a really good message about just enjoying life for what it is and everything. It's just a really good, heartfelt movie and everything. It is a little bit silly at times when they switch bodies, and when he switches body with the cat and everything, he ends up in the cat's body, and some of that is a little bit silly, but it's not really anything that ruins the movie for me. I personally enjoy this movie quite a bit and everything, so Soul is easily my favorite movie of 2020. So anyway, let me know in the comments what your favorite movies of 2020 are, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good day, everybody.